Good morning. It's Thursday, October 8th. I'm Phil Streible, Chief Market Strategist at Blue Line Futures. So my partner, Bill Baruch, he'll be on CNBC on the halftime show this morning. He'll be discussing some of the portfolio moves that we're making in the wealth management side. We also launched a new product on the wealth management side, Mining Alpha, where we hold no more than 10 names in some of the key miners here. We currently have about 8. We've got about 38% in cash here, and 2 of the names here are at their max position right around 10%. Now the silver Lotto ticket buyers, they are back. I saw this on the Bloomberg terminal this morning. It was a headline. It said gold, silver bullish bets on rally extending in the commodity options. This is not a recommendation to the public. This is just an observation of what's going on in the commodity market space and specifically in the futures options. So looking at the silver call spread, the COMEX silver January 50-52 call spreads traded 2,000 lots, mostly around 64 3/4. Also, the December 50-55 call spreads traded 700 lots at $1.05. So if you look at that first one, the 50-52, that's $2 wide, which is $10,000, and they're paying about 64 3/4. You times it by $50 here, and it comes out to $3,230 for one of those spreads. So it's got about a 2-to-1 risk to reward. The break even would be 50, 64 3/4 on that expiration 75 days from now on December 23rd. So essentially, if you times that out by the 2,000 lots, they're risking about $6,460,000 to try and make $13,540,000. You look at the December 50-55, it's $5 wide, so that's 25 grand, and costing $1.05 is $5,250. 700 lots of those traded. So essentially, they're risking $3,675,000 to try and get a reward of $13,825,000. One more time. Just an observation that we're looking at here, not a recommendation. So some of the top headlines out here, the melt up in the stock market looks set to continue here, although we're slightly in the red here at the moment here, with every small dip being bought and volatility continuing to stay low. Plenty of the investors here have had their doubts about the AI trade, the tense geopolitical backdrop, but it seems like the FOMO buying is really the main driver at the moment here, as the S&P 500 looks like we're going into this earnings season and looks that we could extend out here going into the rest of the year. So you got the S&P 500, 67.98 down 2.5 here, essentially unchanged. NASDAQ down 17 at 25,312. Russell just below that 2,500 mark, down about 4.5 points. Again, volatility index here just ever so slightly lower. So some of the sectors in focus, it's really the U.S. listed rare earth stocks are climbing in the pre-market after China unveiled new restrictions on exports ahead of that meeting here this month between Trump and Xi Jinping. Looking at the agricultural markets, soybeans down about 3 cents here. Not much movement in that. That was one of the markets that made a big move upwards here, reversing after dropping below $10 once that meeting was announced. You do have Freeport-McMoRan continuing to push up about 3.1% here as the Chinese buyers here return. You look at earnings, we're going to have Costco. They're already rising in the pre-market. Delta Airlines and Pepsi, they are due out to report before the market open. So you look at some of the economic data coming out here. It's supposed to be wholesale inventories, and you're supposed to see those jobless claims, but the government shutdown will most likely not get anything. So want to look at those Fed speakers, Bowman, Goolsbee, Barr, Kashkari, Daly, and even Chairman Jerome Powell in pre-recorded remarks here at a Fed Community Bank conference. You look at the dollar index, essentially up changed. It has gone up pretty dramatically, starting to break out to the upside as the euro currency starts to break to the downside here. You did see some discussion around those French elections here, and that's what kind of reversed that sell-off in the euro currency in the previous trading session here. So you look at European stocks, they're steady on Thursday here after closing at a record. Investors are really focused on the developments in France's political crisis. You know, the Asian stocks, now this is where some of these precious metals here, like you get to platinum, aluminum, you get to copper and palladium all pushing up here. So those Asian stocks, they rose. You got the AI fuel tech rally resuming here following that brief pause. You had mainland China shares. They gained here as that market reopened after their golden week. The MSCI Asia Pacific Index rose 0.6%, poised for its first gain in 3 sessions here. And stocks in Japan and Taiwan, they also climbed here to fresh records. So you look at what the markets are thinking about the interest rate cuts, the government shutdown, 85% chance this thing's going to extend out through October 15th. October 15th is when a lot of these federal workers, they are supposed to get their paychecks. So they won't get their paychecks if it extends out past then. So I would expect you start to see some disruptions take place once you get past that final paycheck here as this government shutdown continues. You look at the CME's Fed Watch tool, again, no change here, 94.6 chance of a 25 basis point interest rate cut. Poly markets are thinking the same thing, right around a 90% chance. And you go to the ETF flows, because this has been one of the main drivers here. You got gold unchanged up 17%, but it's been 10 straight days of purchases in that gold market, adding about 57,000 troy ounces of gold. 10 straight day of growth here, longest winning streak since March 25th. Gold is up about 54% year to date, tacking on about 1.5% in that previous trading session. And then silver, the dip buyers coming back into that market as the ETFs added 1.96 million troy ounces. Palladium increased for the 8th straight day here. And the gold silver ratio, interestingly enough, at 83.5 to 1. So silver really trying to keep up with the gold market, but gold is still continuing to pull ahead. A lot of dip buyers in the copper market here yesterday, and they're being rewarded with that just below about 2% upwards on the day here. As far as cryptos, you got Bitcoin backing off after reaching record highs. Same thing with Ethereum. The only one that looks actionable around support is the XRP here at the moment. So if you guys got any questions, shoot an email to info@bluelinefutures.com. You want to know about the mining alpha program, you want to know about some of the different option strategies that were outlined in the start of this video here, shoot an email to info@bluelinefutures or just call me directly here. Remember that futures and options trading, it does involve risk of loss and may not be suitable to all investors. Good luck, good trading.